I'm not going to quote anything else out of the press. Is there anything else you'd want to say about the Academy Award night, or shall we close? Can we close on that? There was some talk that you were going to go to Wounded Knee, and I was wondering what changed your mind about that.
Well, I wanted to digress just for a second there. I have a great deal of sympathy for the fact that you try to put on shows that deal with serious issues. And there's a terrible conflict that you must have trying to make the show entertaining. You have to do that in order to keep that segment of the audience who's not particularly interested in the issues tuned into the station. And I think you do a yeoman's job. There's nobody else on television that does what you do. And very often you're forced to make concessions. I mean, asking me questions about whether I threw horse manure on somebody, you know, that seems ridiculous on the face of it. But then it has a part, you know, that if you don't ask those questions, you don't have that kind of conversation, there are a lot of guys in their undershirts drinking beer just going to turn the station over to some other channel.
My God, what are they talking about?
Yeah. Nobody wants to hear about malnutrition among Indians. Nobody wants to hear about the fact that the Indians have the highest suicide rate of any group in the United States. That's dull stuff. People come home, they've got enough trouble, and they don't want to listen to it. They want to listen to the fripperies and the foolishness and the fun and the giggles and all that. So I think that you really deserve full credit for being able to wend your way through the broadcasting shows. And but I think that, as a matter of fact, you've touched an awful lot of people, and they've responded when they wanted to take you off the air for whatever reason it was. The hue and cry went up, and people did support you in full, and I was very glad for that, and I think everyone, finally, even those beer drinkers, will be benefited by it.
I got a lot of beer drinkers watching. Thank you. I'm humiliated when I'm complimented, and I must move on quickly. Did you dream that Last Tango would be such a bombshell in every way, that it would explode all over the place in the way that it did, or did you think it would just be accepted as another movie?
Well, I didn't know. No, those are just rolls of the dice, and you never know. I didn't know.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry, I interrupted you or something on the subject of you were going to go to Wounded Knee and then decided not to, and it was never made.
I interrupted you.
You're right again.
Wounded Knee was surrounded by federal officers, marshals, state police, deputized ranchers, anybody who wanted to hold a gun and make himself feel good. Also, there were Indians, local Indians, that represented the administration view, who were opposed to AIM. And all that was needed to make it a flop was for me to go to Wounded Knee, be arrested by a vigilante group, or stopped by U.S. Marshals or something, and turned over to deputized conservative Indians. So then the headlines would be Indians repulse Brando Wounded Knee, which was perhaps be the thing that the government would be looking for. And I tried to get into Wounded Knee, and but I wasn't able to. I went to Denver and set up I was going to meet somebody there, and they had trouble getting out Wounded Knee to meet me there, and it didn't work out.
Well, now I'll lapse back again. I'm fascinated with the furor over Last Tango. I wonder if anybody's able to see that movie for what it is because of the fact that before it came out, a review appeared that said it was one of the greatest artistic events since Stravinsky's debut of Sacre de Printemps, on Pauline Kael's review. Have you found that anybody's able to watch the movie and see it for what it is, or do they know much too much about it beforehand?
Well, I haven't seen the movie, and I really don't think that I can. I don't know what I could say about it that might be useful or amusing or interesting.
Then we'll get off of that. Why do you downgrade acting as a profession?
What?
I say, why do you downgrade acting as a profession over the years?
What makes you think I do?
Well, I've read it in the press. Saw it in black and white.
I
we can't believe the press. I don't know what we can believe in this country. You know what I mean? Though you've said over the years,
well,
it's not a fit profession for a man.
In an effort to help your ratings,
Don't worry about it.
I'll maybe say something. I think that we couldn't survive a second if we weren't able to act. That acting is a survival mechanism, and it's a social unguent, and it's a lubricant. And we act to save our lives, actually, every day. People lie constantly, every day, by not saying something that they think, or saying something that they don't think, or showing something that they don't feel, or trying to give the appearance of feeling something that they don't actually. I said that, didn't I?
Yeah, but that's not acting.
That is acting. That is
no, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
But you know what I mean.
When you're
what you do
frightened
on the
or when
screen,
you're nervous,
huh?
when you're frightened and nervous in this chair, you're distressed or uncomfortable, or you're very angry.
Yeah.
And you know that that is not what is necessary to well, what cannot be shown here. You control your face. You're a highly controlled person. And
really?
And you have to do that.
I see. But you know what I mean is, we got into this on the phone. You say that that's acting. That's not. I'm motivated at that moment to do that, and I can do it. And suppose there's a guy here that I think is a schmuck, is a bore, and you invite frankness, and I can act like he's interested for a time. I'm motivated by that. But if you wake me up at 9 or 8 the following morning and say, do that same performance before a camera, and then do it again and again, I can't. Some people can. Some people do it wonderfully, and you seem to do it better than almost anybody. And so there've got to be gradations. I won't hear of the fact that what you do is no more than what I do.
Well, that isn't true. If you're working for an ad agency, some product, and you hate the guy that, the idea man, the boss, and you know that every time he comes in with some impossible notion, something that really makes you gag when you drive home on the freeway, you know damn well that you're not going to get a raise, or you're not going to get it shifted out of the position that you're in if you don't say, Leonard, I think that's terrific.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful. And you even lean forward, put your elbows on to show enthusiasm, and you get a face for it, and you do it day after day after day in order to survive in your job.
But if you had to do the line, Leonard, I think that's terrific 6 times, and get something deeper and better into it time after time, that takes an actor.
What did you say?
I said, those are one-time things where you have an immediate motivation.
No, they're not one-time things, because it's a daily procedure.
Yeah, but the dialogue changes all the time. But you're able to
The dialogue changes, but the motivation doesn't.
Are you saying that I could play any role you can play as well as you can?
Well, that might not be true, but I don't think that I could play some roles as well as you could play them.